Hello, I'm Richard Raffan. In this video you're going to see how I hollowed out this green turned bowl and then sanded it. And sanding green wood presents a few problems and this is how I go about it. So I'm going to use the big bowl guide when I find it. Right, here we are, the same one. Using the wing first just to get the top flat. So shear cut back to the middle. And I want it flat so I can drill a depth hole. Or I should say so I can drill a depth hole accurately. I'll drill a depth hole now, but you know where you're going if you get it flat first. Alright. And I'm using a, what diameter is about 5mm I think. No, it'll be a bit longer than that, maybe 6. I've got dots drilled on the drill so I can go into that one. We go in little bursts because the shavings jam up in the flute otherwise. Right. Give it a bit more light. So the tool starts pretty well on its side. With the asymmetric gouge I get a very nice heavy cut with the nose of the tool. So you can see that it's coming off this wing and the cleanness of the cut comes off the portion just to the left of the nose of the tool, nice and clean. Try to get the cuts down, initial cuts down to the bottom of the hole, so I know where all the other cuts are going. And I mustn't forget that this is an outflowing bowl. I don't often do these shapes these days. I'll get some light inside for you. Green turning, the wood's going to warp pretty quickly and it's already on the go, so you can either go down little steps. I prefer to kind of try and do it in one go. Kind of line my nose up with the rim. I can see with loose vision, kind of see either side of the bowl wall, so you can see roughly how thick it is. And I've forgotten that I have a bright light. I could check it with as well. So I can see roughly where I am, and it's still got plenty is a relative term, I suppose, but there's enough. With the big bowl scraper. Now down at the bottom, the top's done. I'm not going to come back up there now. I can now have a look at that with calipers. So it's down to about 3/16 of an inch, that's about 5 mil. So I can go down a little bit more there. Don't want it too thin because it's strong enough, but the warp always seems to be a bit more interesting when it's not ultra thin. Got to remember I've got that nice little button in the middle of the foot, so I want to go through to that. I did not set out to make a lampshade. Little nub in the middle, just drop the handle to bring the edge up through the centre. It's a bit bright and sunny out there, but that means that light doesn't work quite so well, but that feels pretty good. Right, it's now down to 1/8 of an inch, that's enough. Right, so that gets sanded. And it's my lunch time, or just a bit past, so that'll just give it 30 minutes or so to dry off on the surface. I could hit it with a hairdryer, but I'll do that when I come back. Just give it a little bit of time to dry off. Half an hour later, and I can see some little kind of grooves just there, which will sand out pretty quickly. The grain is beginning, it's dried off a little bit. The grain is looking a little bit picked up just on the end grain there and also there. So I'm going to dry it a little bit more with a hairdryer. So I'm going to get at this with power, 3-inch sanding pad, and I'm going to put the speed down a little bit. And dust. Do something a bit more aggressive than that. So a fresh bit of 120. doesn't really feel as if it's cutting, it's doing more warming, drying out the surface than anything else. So suddenly that's beginning to pick up, or the grain here just needs more sanding. It's didn't cut it quite as cleanly as I thought in the first place. That's fairly common, and this needs cleaning, the belt cleaner. This was not a brand new disc. So. And it might even pay just to leave that for a bit and let it dry out, and then I can break the shavings out. Let's see how we go here. Not too much dust coming off at the moment. I've got a brand new disc. Bit better. Still a bit damp down in there. We've really got the disc going around this way, so the pressure is against the wood coming in there. Using the upper part of the sander. Right, that looks all right. Around the edge. Nice fresh 180. Suddenly, as the surface dries out, the abrasives really start cutting. Well, that's pretty good. That's 240. Will do it, I think. Maybe might need a little bit more attention just there. Lock the spindle. If it happened there, always look the other side. Yep, needs a bit more there. teeny bit of something there. This now is going into the microwave for a bit. Just leave all that there so it can go back in if it needs to. There's a little bit of moisture around the top of the foot, and the foot's quite wet. So this is now going to get bowl this size. Try it on 2 minutes on cook, and we'll see what happens. Now, with about 10 seconds to go, I can smell the wood hot. Oh, wasn't even 10 seconds. So this comes out, and that is hot. You can see that steaming. Oh, that's really quite dramatic. And you can also see that it's changing shape. So you just let that sit there until it's finished letting off steam. And then it can go back in the oven again for another couple of minutes. I'm going to tilt this up on edge because it's sweating quite a bit on the bottom. I'll just do that, and that'll let it dry out a bit more. So this bowl has now had 3 lots of 2 minutes and 2 lots of 90 seconds, all within an hour. So as soon as it cooled off, I put it back in the oven. And as you can see, the pith, the end bits here have risen up, and the sides have come down, been pulled down. What happens when wood's trying to dry out, or when it is drying out, is the growth rings here are trying to straighten themselves out, hence the sides are pulled down. Now the bottom has gone quite oval. It's nearly changed nearly 1/4 of an inch, but as often happens, it's actually stayed fairly flat. So all that's going to need is a little push across some abrasive to make it flat on the bottom. And that beeping sound was another bowl going through the oven. This is the bowl which was in the oven when you just heard the pips. So the more open shape tends to often to be a bit more dramatic on the end. Put the beads on just to emphasize the warping when it took place. And this bowl has warped quite a bit. It's gone from 185 in that direction to 202, 205 in that direction. So 205 to 85, that's moved 3/4 of an inch, 20 millimeters. It'll be a great little utilitarian bowl, that one. It's rounded on the bottom, rocks a little bit, but it won't tip over.